What's up, everybody? It's Glenn and Big Jack back with another Bears recap slash preview video, recapping the Bears dismantling of the Atlanta Falcons at home in Week 17 before previewing the Bears heading up to Lambeau Field to face Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers in Week 18 in hopes of playing spoiler for their playoff hopes. Packers, that is. Quick recap, Jack. Bears dismantle the Atlanta Falcons. Justin Fields has about as efficient of a game as you could ask for at the quarterback position, doing it both through the air and with his legs. Meanwhile, Khalil Herbert looks a little bit like the Khalil Herbert before he got banged up earlier in the year. Has over 100 yards on the ground individually. Cole Kmet a little banged up. As a quick side note on the offense, but then the defense played a great game as well. I don't think Desmond Ritter, or I guess it was Taylor Heineke, I don't think he is lighting the world on fire as a quarterback. But that being said, defense looks great, doing what they're supposed to do against a lesser quarterback. Tyreek Stevenson, defensive player of the week for the NFC. Shout out him. Uh, the rookies look good the last 4 or 5 weeks for sure, along with the rest of the defensive unit. Gervon Dexter. I think Gervon is the way you pronounce it. A sack and a half individually as well, showing that he's got some potential as a youngster in that defensive interior. Overall, really impressive win. Credit to Eberflus, the staff, and all the players for coming together and um, beating a Atlanta team that actually does have like some playoff aspirations, beating them handily at home or at our home in the elements. What's your initial takeaways from that ass kicking that happened at Soldier Field, and um, are you looking for them to build on that this week, or you think it's just week 18? Let's get on with it. We playoffs. We got no hopes. Season's over. Where's your head at, Jack?
Yeah, I think you could a little bit of devil's advocate about the Falcons and be like Taylor Heineke's their quarterback. You look at a team like that and you're like, how much respect can you really give to a team with that quarterback situation that they've had? But that's got nothing to do with the defensive side of the ball. The Atlanta Falcons have been a top 10 defense all year. I shouldn't even say have been. They are a top 10 defense. And Justin Fields had arguably the best game of his career. That's kind of where my head's at with it. We banter all the time outside of the context of like these specific conversations, but I've been saying all along, this year he had 17 games to make a decision. It's been 16. I know he had missed four with the injuries, or
That sounds
five
about right.
maybe. Four. I know. Yeah, either. I know we won two with Bajan. He either went 2-2 or 2-3. So four or five. Either way, the full season still not done. And last week was just a huge, huge positive in my book. It really was. In those conditions, doing some of the stuff they wanted to do. Maybe down the stretch, I'm not sure how much Atlanta wanted to be on the field at certain points in that game. But like you said, they're still are in the thick of their playoff hunt in that NFC South division. They had a lot to play for. They came into Soldier Field. The Bears took care of business, man. They took it to them, never let their foot off the gas. We've had some issues in second halves a lot this season where, the Bears are a surefire come out first half. You might as well be on the Bears first half over, first half cover, first half whatever you can get in the positive because they've been dominating first halves of football games for the most part. But then, you sputter a little bit against a horrible pass defense against Arizona. You only have 35 passing yards in the second half. You start to kind of think, same old. It's good at times, but is this really what we, can win with in the future? But I think he answered a lot of questions on Sunday against the Falcons. Absolutely dominant performance. That's kind of the heart and soul of where my attention's focused. And to be frank, now that we are officially eliminated from the playoffs since the Packers and Vikings didn't tie on Sunday Night Football, that's all that really matters to me. One quick note about Gervon Dexter. His I know you mentioned the sacks in particular, but just his pressure rate in general. And I know it's a reflection of Sweat showing up and the impact that he's had on this line and the defense as a whole. But I think it's all just positive. Whatever Sweat has done to this team is, it couldn't have a higher of a grade in my eyes for Poles, who I've been honestly, I've probably been more critical than most on
Right.
Ryan Poles, and that's a just such a huge positive in my book in what he's been able to do and the impact he's clearly having on these young players. It's been a joy to watch.
Yeah, man. Roster is definitely trending in the right direction. Like you said, you've been pretty critical of Poles, and rightfully so with some of his decisions. But I will say this last draft class seems to be turning out pretty nice. Maybe not Tyler Scott,
Unreal.
but like Stevenson, Dexter, Darnell Wright, all looking like guys that can be legitimate starters here moving forward. Yeah, I think things are heading in the right direction, which is good. All right, now as we transition to Week 18 against the Green Bay Packers, quick recap: first week of the season, Packers come to Soldier Field. Bears team isn't really ready to play mentally, isn't ready to win, doesn't have that confidence yet. I would argue that they've spent the second half of the season really learning how to win and finish games decently well. They're setting a foundation. Um, do you expect things to be a little bit different this time around? Are you thinking that the Packers, who have beaten us like 10 out of the last 11 times or something like that, do you expect more of the same there? That, hey, this is just a bad matchup for us? Or where's your head at, Jack?
Yeah, I think that's when you get into the conversation about what happens in the off season, I think I start with how this season started. Um, I know a lot of things have changed down the stretch, and you could make a lot of arguments for keeping the staff, but I'm still totally 100% out on Eberflus. I think he's got to go. I think you got to clean house with the coaching staff because of how the season started. It's just inexcusable, in my opinion. Um, and I do think they're in a better place as far as being able to go into Lambeau and compete. But I'm just not sold on everything as a whole. As good as of a vibe as there is at times right now. Too many blown opportunities, um, and it's not good enough, man. It's not good enough. Um, you know, if they finish out 8 and 9, that's still sub 500. Significant improvement from last year, but I don't know. It's not enough for me. I don't want to be trending. I think I want a professional operation. I don't believe that this team presents it right now with the staff as assembled. I think that you're only going to get better if you upgrade the coaching staff. But yeah, I think going into this week, certainly have a better chance. Packers were in this situation last year at home, playing for a playoff spot against an opponent who has nothing to play for. We know what happened. The Lions went in there, took care of business, sort of kind of pushed them around. And we know what the Lions have done this year. So, I think there's something, the possibility of the Bears kind of carrying on that momentum. Obviously, that narrative sort of out there quite a bit. Um, it's tough. I feel torn as a Bears fan, honestly. I always want to beat the Packers. It'd be nice to be the ones who are the roadblock between them and the playoffs. It'd be nice to finally beat the Packers. I know for a fact they've lost 9 in a row. LaFleur has beaten the Bears every single time he's lined up his boys against them, which is just infuriating. I think they're like 46-14 in the last like 60 some games or whatever. It's just been abysmal. So yeah, of course it'd be great to win, but like there's so many teams that are in that 7-9 to 9-7 window. I think 15 teams in the NFL are in that mediocrity level. That's just such a pot swings that are possible in the draft positioning. I know we've kind of talked about it all year. Like, what's the difference between picking 10th and 15th. You just have to get it right at the end of the day. You already are locked into the number one overall pick. But I don't know. It's hard not to think at this point, now that they are completely eliminated, it's hard not to feel like a loss isn't a better thing for the Bears, big picture. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I guess to answer your question directly, 100% yes. I think they're much better positioned to go into Lambeau Field and compete on Sunday night.
Fair enough. I will say, just for the viewers out at home, I have a disagreement with Jack that I think Eberflus should stay, unless it's a home run, proven head coach replacing him. That's my point of view, but I respect his point of view as well. And I do get the frustrations with the blown leads and how this season started. Both those things are kind of unexcusable, but um, I disagree with the idea
Oh,
that
and
he
that's and
needs to be
that's fine. I
replaced.
think there's yeah, that's I
Yeah,
like you said. I mean, we talked about it. I don't know, a couple weeks ago, and we said how you could even if they got to 6 or 7, you're doubling that total. They're already
right.
at 7, so if they stay there, he could sit down with his conversation with Poles and Kevin Warren, whoever else, and he has a pretty solid argument to present,
Right.
no doubt about it. Especially with it's the two sides. It's like from his perspective, he's probably going to say, well, once we got Alan Williams out, look what I've been able to do with this defense. And then someone with me would say, like, you're the one who hired Alan
Yeah, you
Williams.
picked Alan Williams. Yeah,
Right. So there's like a little give and take on everything as it goes in life. But I'm not going to begrudge anybody for saying
sure.
they think that there's a reasonable logic to keeping him around. I will say if Poles has any clue what he's doing, which I'm starting to come around to think that he does, um, if you keep Eberflus, that signals to me 100% that you're sticking with Justin Fields. Because if you move on from the coaching staff, maybe you stick with Fields, maybe, but you probably are just resetting it all, moving on with a whole different regime. But if you keep Eberflus and you do the same bullshit that this Bears organization has done over the course of our lifetime, past 2-3 decades, um, then I'm out.
Yeah,
Until
I
they are
think
all
I agree.
gone, they just don't know what the hell they're doing if they keep Eberflus and get rid of Fields and keep Eberflus, get a new quarterback. It's just the same insanity that this team has done for so long. So if they keep Eberflus, okay, I could understand what your point of view and others like it who have that sort of logic around it. But you better be just sticking with the quarterback, sticking to your
Yeah,
guns,
trading
manning up,
down.
you
Yeah,
know, putting it on the table, saying this is what we're doing. We're all in, and we're just going for it. Don't do this. Yeah, we're going to keep Eberflus, but we're also going to get a new quarterback. No, God, no.
I agree with that point. All right. Okay, they go to Lambeau this week. Packers. Are they winning in for sure? They're winning in for sure, I believe. Right.
Yeah,
Um,
100%.
winning in for the playoffs. Uh, what we do every week is the keys to a Bears victory. So we're gonna make these keys with the mindset, the frame here that these are the keys that it's going to take for the Bears to go to Lambeau and small upset. They're 3-point dogs. Upset them, Green Bay Packers, and come home with a victory. Send the Packers to the golf course for the off season. What's your first key to a Bears victory?
Key number one, I'm going to go to the quarterback, but not the Bears quarterback. I'm going to go to the other side of the ball, looking at Jordan Love and the Packers. Jordan Love has been a lot better than I ever would have thought slash hoped. God, it looks like they fucking did it again. It's so infuriating that they continue to come up with these talents, but he's been so good this back half of the season. I think his last 6 games, he has 14 touchdowns and 1 interception. Um, it, I, you wouldn't believe it if I told you that Jordan Love has the third most touchdowns of any quarterback in the NFL this season. It's ridiculous. He has no receivers. His wide receivers suck. Every single one of them are terrible. First year, second year guys, they all suck. And he's thrown 30 touchdowns. He's got no tight end, nothing. And he's just getting it done. It's unbelievable how good that he's been. I'm shocked and appalled by it. 14 touchdowns, one interception his last 6 games. You got to find a way to turn him over. He had a stretch in the season, middle of the season, where I think he went like 2 touchdowns to 8 interceptions. And it was like, ooh, thank God, hallelujah. They finally got it wrong. But he sort of turned it around. The Bears have shown a great propensity to turn the ball over the last 2 months of the season. The Bears are 5-2 in their last seven and should be 7-0. They blew 2 games horrendously. I get it against two good playoff teams, both on the road in the Lions and the Browns. But the Bears have been turning people over like crazy. That hits principle. Maybe it's taken place. Maybe it's just about the fortunes have finally turned. You're starting to get some breaks your way, but they've been turning it over like crazy. You got to keep it up this week. I think to win this game on the road, you got to pick Jordan Love off twice. I'm going to call for 2 interceptions, and that's key number one to a Bears victory.
The T in hits principle stands for
The ball.
the ball. The Bears gotta take that ball away twice via interception from Jordan Love. It is really crazy. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not watching all these Packers games, so I don't know exactly how the eye test is. We'll see. I'll see what it looks like on Sunday. But from the box score stat sheet, he's looking pretty damn good. So it's very frustrating. And like you said, he doesn't have a whole lot of help. Definitely not any help with experience, and he's just still balling out. So yeah, the defense has been balling as well. Um, like you said, the last 6 7 weeks, they've I think either led the league in takeaways or they're right there at the top. Um, yeah, I think a couple turnovers might be necessary for the Bears to have a shot.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, he already has he'd be the best. He'd be the most prolific passer in Bears history already. I think he's like just 140-ish shy of a 4,000-yard passer. I mean, even if he has a bad game, he's going to get there. It's tough, 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 tough.
Key
But
number two.
yeah, key number two, I'm going to go with interior line play. The Bears, Lucas Patrick sucks. He's like the glaring weakness on a pretty good offensive line, in my opinion, for the Chicago Bears. That's like continuing to get better, but he's questionable. And as bad as he is, he's a lot better than the alternative. Every time we have someone else come in, they like Cody Whitehair's come in. Feeney's come in. Everyone who's come in like can't even snap a football. So like, I hope he still plays because otherwise we're in trouble. Some of those Packers interior rush is pretty solid at times. So I think that on both sides of the ball is going to be of the utmost importance. We're going to have to be able to run the ball. We're going to have to be able to protect Fields, and we're going to have to be able to get after Jordan Love on the other side to put that pressure on to create those turnovers. The Bears defensive line has been doing an excellent job since Sweat has come into the picture, starting to allow a little bit of that blueprint of Eberflus's offense to be able to, or excuse me, Eberflus's defense to be able to pressure the quarterback without having to go crazy in the blitz, sit back in those zones, cause havoc, give the quarterback some different looks, confuse them. And I just think it's both sides of the ball. It's going to be massive. That interior line play, I think whoever wins that battle in the true deepest of the trenches is going to have a good chance to come out on top.
Trench warfare. It's going to get ugly. It's going to get dirty. It's going to be a black and blue NFC North battle. These teams might not be true Super Bowl contenders yet, but when they face each other, um, you know, they get up a little extra. And yeah, it'll be a little dogfight there in the interior trenches. So, key number two is the interior trench battles on both sides of the football. What's your third key?
Third and final key: neutralize Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones is a running back. I don't really care for running backs. I don't care how good you are. But for whatever reason, Matt LaFleur or whatever he schemed up in week one, that was embarrassing. I mean, if the Packers didn't blow the brakes off us and the game was over, so early anyway, Aaron Jones might have gone for like 300 all-purpose yards. He was just gashing us, pass game, run game, everything. He got hurt and has kind of like slowly been worked back in. I watched obviously last week Packers Vikings was Sunday night game, so that was first like you. I haven't watched a ton of the Packers, but that was the first like full game I watched, and Aaron Jones looks pretty much back to fully healthy, which could be a problem for the Bears, especially considering what happened week one. Got to neutralize him. Don't let him get those easy swing underneath passes, all that short passing game stuff where he catches it and, turns it into big 15, 20, 30-yard gainers, pushing it down the field with the yak. Neutralize him. Take care of him. Keep him out of the game. Force Jordan Love to use those no-name receivers and tight ends. He's been doing a good job of it, but I think you have a better chance to win the game if you take away what has been their best weapon ever since Devontae Adams left, really over the course of the last 2, 3 years. Now, you got to neutralize Aaron Jones because he just killed the Bears week one.
He really did. And yeah, just looking back to week one, the way I remember it is a little bit different, but very similar as well. Where it's like it felt like it was kind of an even matchup, and then all of a sudden, like Aaron Jones, 60-yard screen pass touchdown, Aaron Jones, 50-yard wheel route. Like it was one of those games where there wasn't a ton between the two sides, and then all of a sudden Aaron Jones would just like gash the Bears defense, and they had no answer. Let's hope this defense is playing a little bit better. They got a better game plan to take care of him. But I like those three keys. We got uh, taking care of Jordan Love and hopefully creating two interceptions against him. A guy who's been pretty effective at protecting the football. The interior trench warfare, the battle in the interior of the offensive and defensive line, both sides of the football, and then containing Aaron Jones. I would like to add two little keys of my own, if I may do so. It's looking like Jalen Johnson may potentially be out. I think he's ruled as doubtful for the game. That's a big loss, and rightfully so in a lot of people's eyes. I'm interested to see how Terrell Smith does stepping up. He's put up some pretty good grades on that PFF site. I know it hasn't been like Jalen Johnson has been. He's been like all pro type level. But I'll be interested to see if that the rookie, if he's getting to play every down, how he holds up. So I'll be interested in seeing how he does. And then the other one is Cole Kmet out or doubtful or anything like
He's
that? Questionable.
No, yeah. So like you said, Jalen Johnson's doubtful,
Yeah,
which at this point I can't imagine he'll play.
sure.
I don't know why he would, honestly, considering his contract situation and everything else. Cole Kmet is questionable. He seems like he's obviously paid. He seems like sort of a warrior meathead type guy. So I'm sure if he can play, he will. But yeah, he's still questionable.
Well, I'm going to assume that even if he can play, he's going to be pretty banged up and not 100% of himself. That's Cole Kmet. So I'm going to need somebody else to step up and be a second option for Justin Fields there in the passing game.
Yeah,
Honestly,
Mooney's out.
yeah, Mooney's out for sure, which I like Mooney as a young bear this year. Really kind of disappointed me. Um, Honestly, if you look at the Bears' weapons overall, you get past DJ Moore and you get past Komet when he's healthy. Not a lot out there. The cupboard's pretty bare. So we need somebody to provide something. And then that's going to be something we need to attack in the offseason for sure. But what's your score predictions for this game, Jack?
Yeah, quickly before
Yeah,
score prediction, I will just say I didn't want to make it a key
sure.
necessarily, but shouts out Santos.
Yeah,
He's been great again this year. I always joke about how he's juicing, taking steroids all off season because he can kick the ball a little further this year. I mean, we know what he is. He doesn't have a strong leg. He's not going to be the banger from deep. But dude, he just doesn't miss. And so shouts out him. But other than that, special teams, like, do we even have special teams? No pulse on the special teams. Our punter sucks. I mean, we all trashed O'Donnell, and he wasn't great either. But like, our punting situation's horrible. I don't know if we've pinned anyone inside of the 10, let alone like the 5 once all year.
We got to get Punk out now that he's cleared, man.
Dude, it's a ridiculous scenario. Our punter sucks. We've done nothing in the return game. Maybe like we got one more chance. Do like special teams. Are we there? Let's do show up. Give me something on Sunday. Show me you're alive. Um, but yeah, score prediction. I don't know, man. I part of me wants to just rip it and say the Bears are going to win this game. Fuck the Packers. The Bears are just not only have they lost the last 9 in a row against the Packers, they're 0-9 against the spread against the Packers in the last 9. It's just a calamity, man. I don't know. I think the Packers learned from their mistake of last year. I think LaFleur really has them ready to go. They know what's at stake. They were in this exact same position, let it slip through their fingers last year. Um, but all that being said, I see a Packers team that had a inexplicable pass ruled a catch that was clearly not a catch, and that's the only reason they win a game against the Carolina Panthers. I don't know. Bears got a lot of good things going. I think they got a lot to play for, a lot to prove. I don't know, man. I think the Bears defense is gonna be hungry for a piece of the Packers. And I think Jordan Love is as good as he's been, as highly as I just spoke of him. I think he's keyed up for a little bit of a letdown in a high pressure spot. Think it's just a regression to the mean. I just can't believe he's going to be another superstar in Green Bay. I think he has a bad week. I think that Bears defense gets to him. I'm going to go Bears 27, Packers 17.
Wow, he's predicting the win. That's big. I can't get there with you. I don't think it's gonna be very high scoring though. I'm gonna go Packers 20, Bears 16. That's gonna be my prediction for the week. So I'll be rooting for the Bears. I want them to win. I know it could fuck up the draft capital a little bit. Having 2 top 10 picks would be great, especially if we do decide to move on from Fields and go quarterback at 1. It'd be nice to be able to add to the roster with another top 10 pick. Um, but I hate the Packers and I love to play spoilers. So, all right, that's it for the Bears this season. Maybe we'll hit you with a quick recap video, maybe a little offseason outlook, what we think is the key positions to address in the offseason, what really needs to improve. Maybe we'll give out a couple like fake trophies to Bears players or something. Me and Jack will dream something up. But that might be it for the Bears videos for a little while. Um, that being said, I'm bringing some like fake off-season videos and stuff too. So make sure you subscribe and like and stay tuned for those as well. But all right, Jack, one last time, give it to the fans before playoffs here.
Mm, Bears.